There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that not everyone who starts with you will finish with you. People will come into your life with love, with lessons, with memories, and with pain. Some will stay for years, others for a few moments. But one truth will never change if people come and people go. And the only person who remains with you from the beginning end to the is yo. That is why your first priority must always be yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a self-respecting way. You cannot pour into others when your own cup is empty. You cannot give what you have not built within. When you focus on your growth, your healing, your peace, your purpose, your whole life upgrades. Life teaches you this again and again. Attachment causes suffering. The more you tie your happiness to people, the more you give them the power to break you. But the moment you shift your focus inward, everything changes. You begin to understand that your worth is not dependent on who stays or who leaves. It is built on your character, your discipline, your courage, your dreams, your values. People will disappoint you. Some will betray you. Many will misunderstand you, but none of that defines you. What defines you is how you rise after every goodbye. What defines you is how you choose to grow instead of giving up. What defines you is the strength you build in silence when no one is clapping for you. Focus on yourself because your future depends on it. Focus on your goals because no one will achieve them for you. Focus on your healing because no one else can carry that pain. Focus on your dreams because no one else can see what you see. People may walk in and out of your life, but your progress stays with you forever. Life removes people when their chapter in your story is done. Do not chase them. Do not beg for closure. Do not shrink to be loved. Instead, trust the process. Trust that every ending is guiding you toward a better beginning. Trust that the right people, those who respect you, support you, and value you, will find you when you have built yourself strong enough to receive them. You are not meant to stay stuck where you were left. You are meant to grow where you stand, build your mind, build your habits, build your peace, build your future. Become someone you can rely on. Become someone you are proud of. When you focus on yourself, you stop fearing loss because you finally understand that the most important person in your life is you. So let people come. Let people go. Let life flow the way it is meant to, but never allow the movement of others to distract you from the path you are meant to walk. Your journey is bigger than any one person. Your purpose is stronger than any goodbye. Focus on yourself, because when you do, everything else will fall into place. Life becomes extraordinary the moment you stop chasing people and start chasing your own growth, your own strength, and your own evolution, because the truth is people will always come and go, but the investment you make in yourself will stay with you for the rest of your life. When you choose to focus on your development, your healing, your mindset, your habits, and your goals, you step into a higher version of yourself, a version that does not depend on the approval, presence, or validation of anyone else. Many people spend years trying to hold on to relationships that are fading, friendships that no longer nourish them, or people who no longer value them, and in doing so, they forget the most important relationship of all, the relationship they have with themselves. This keynote reminds you that the first thing you must build in life is not a relationship, not a social circle, not a network, but your own foundation, your resilience, your confidence, your self-worth, and your emotional strength. Because if your inner world is weak, everything connected to it will eventually collapse. When you focus on yourself, you realize that you have more control over your life than you ever imagined, because you cannot control who stays, you cannot control who leaves, but you can always control who you become. This is the power that many people ignore, the power of self-focus, self-growth, and self-direction. People leaving your life does not mean you are unworthy. It does not mean you are not enough. It simply means their role in your story has ended. Their chapter has closed and their purpose has been fulfilled, but your story is still being written. Your chapters are still unfolding and your journey is far from over. When you place your energy into your personal development, you stop taking goodbyes personally because you finally understand that not every person is meant to walk with you to the end. Some people are lessons, some are blessings, some are temporary supports, and some are stepping stones that push you toward the next phase of your life. Focusing on yourself also means finding your voice, your truth, your peace, your discipline, and your clarity, because when you know who you are, no one's absence can break you. When you build your mind, no one's opinion can limit you. When you strengthen your emotional intelligence, no one's behavior can disturb your inner balance. The more you pour into yourself, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the less you depend on people for happiness, reassurance, or direction. This world is full of uncertainty, full of changes, full of people who will enter your life and exit it without warning. But yourself, growth anchors you, protects you, and sustains you through those transitions. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the right people naturally gravitate towards you, while the wrong ones drift away because your energy, your mindset, and your elevation no longer match theirs. This is not a loss, this is alignment. The most beautiful thing about focusing on yourself is that it transforms your entire reality. Your confidence grows, your goals become clearer, your priorities shift, and your peace becomes non-negotiable. You stop begging for attention, you stop chasing love, you stop clinging to temporary people because you finally understand that everything you thought you needed from others was something you had the power to create within yourself. So build yourself first, because people will come into your life and people will leave it. But the growth you commit to will stay with you forever. The stronger you become internally, the less you will fear change, the less you will fear loneliness, and the less you will fear the loss of people who were never meant to stay. When you choose self-focus, you choose strength, clarity, and purpose. And that is the foundation of a powerful life. When people come and go from your life, it becomes one of the greatest teachers you will ever encounter, because it forces you to understand that true stability and lasting peace cannot depend on anyone else. They must rise from within you. You cannot control who stays loyal. You cannot control who chooses to walk away. You cannot control who values your presence or who takes you for granted, but you can always control how you respond, how you grow, and how you rebuild yourself each time life shifts around you. This is the heart of emotional independence, the ability to remain stable even when the world around you becomes unpredictable. When you rely on other people to keep you strong, you give them the power to break you. When you rely on others to validate your worth, you hand over control of your self-esteem. When you depend on someone else to feel whole, you make your happiness fragile. But when your strength comes from within, no goodbye, no disappointment, no betrayal, and no change can take away your peace. This inner strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build day by day, choice by choice, and experience by experience. Every time someone leaves your life, you learn something about yourself. You learn that you are stronger than you thought, braver than you believed, and more capable than you realized. You discover that your heart can heal, your mind can adapt, and your spirit can rise again. You begin to see that you do not break the way you once did, because with each loss, you have built new layers of resilience and new levels of understanding and new forms of self-respect. When you focus on yourself, you begin to create a source of strength that does not depend on circumstances. You learn to ground yourself in gratitude, in clarity, in discipline, in silence, in prayer, in work, in purpose. You understand that peace is not found in people. It is found in the way you choose to live, the way you choose to think, and the way you choose to protect your energy. You stop allowing people to disturb your inner world because you realize that your emotions deserve stability, not chaos. The more you invest in your inner growth, the less you fear losing anyone. You stop chasing people who do not value you. You stop explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand you. You stop waiting for others to return the love you give so freely. Instead, you place your attention on becoming the person you were meant to be. You build your habits, your dreams, your mental strength, your emotional intelligence, your peace. This shift is powerful because when your focus moves inward, life begins to align outward. Strength from within means holding yourself together when everything around you is falling apart, not because you are cold or numb, but because you trust your ability to rise again. It means understanding that your happiness is not in someone else's hands. It means knowing that the real foundation of your life is not built on relationships, but on character, wisdom, and self-belief. People will walk in and out of your life, sometimes gently, sometimes painfully, sometimes unexpectedly. With inner strength, you no longer see their departure as a sign of emptiness. You see it as a sign of growth. You understand that not everyone is meant to stay forever. Not every relationship is meant to last a lifetime, and not every person who leaves is a loss. Sometimes their exit is protection, redirection, elevation. So let people come, let people go, but never let their movement shake the strength you are building within. Anchor yourself in who you are becoming, not in who is staying by your side. The strongest version of you is not the one with the most people around, but the one who can stand tall even when you stand alone. And when your strength comes from within, there is nothing in this world that can truly defeat you. Focusing on yourself is often misunderstood, judged, or labeled as selfish, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful acts of self-preservation, self-respect, and personal growth you will ever practice, because your life, your peace, your healing, and your future depend on the choices you make for yourself, not for others. When you shift your attention inward and begin prioritizing your own needs, your dreams, your ambitions, and your emotional well-being, you reclaim the parts of your life that you unconsciously gave away to people who did not value them. This key note reminds you that focusing on yourself is not an act of arrogance, but an act of survival, because without self-focus, you slowly disappear in the noise of other people's expectations. For too long, many people sacrifice their happiness for relationships that drain them, friendships that exhaust them, or environments that limit them, all because they are afraid of disappointing others. But the truth is, you cannot live a fulfilled life if you are constantly shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that no longer match your growth. You cannot become who you are meant to be if you are always prioritizing everyone else's comfort over your own well-being. Focusing on yourself means finally choosing to stop abandoning yourself for those who would never do the same for you. When you decide to protect your energy, you begin setting boundaries that honor your worth. You learn to say no without guilt because you understand that your peace is more valuable than pleasing people who do not appreciate your presence. You learn to stand firm in your decisions because you realize that your life cannot be directed by opinions that were never meant to guide you. This shift is powerful because it frees you from the emotional captivity of constantly seeking approval, constantly explaining yourself, and constantly proving your worth to people who never deserved that much access to your heart. Focusing on yourself also means giving yourself permission to grow, to change, to evolve, and to become the version of yourself that your soul has always called you to be. Growth requires solitude, silence, discipline, and focus. It requires stepping back from distractions, distancing yourself from negativity, and letting go of the people who keep you stuck in old patterns. When you commit to your personal development, you begin to understand that the world around you changes when the world within you changes first. Healing becomes deeper, peace becomes stronger, vision becomes clearer, and life begins to align with your purpose because you are no longer living for others, you are living for yourself. This kind of inner transformation is not selfish. It is essential because you cannot love others in a healthy way if you do not love yourself fully first. You cannot support others if you are constantly collapsing under the weight of your own unspoken burdens. Taking care of yourself is not something you should feel ashamed of. It is something you should be proud of. When you focus on yourself, you stop accepting the bare minimum, you stop tolerating toxic behavior, you stop lowering your standards to accommodate people who refuse to rise. You start choosing peace over chaos, growth over comfort, and authenticity over acceptance. You begin to surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries, support your goals, and appreciate your presence. And as you rise, your energy naturally attracts better opportunities, better relationships, and a better version of life. This keynote is your reminder that you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot build your future if you are always repairing the damage caused by others, and you cannot reach your full potential if you are afraid to put yourself first. Focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. It is protective. It is empowering. And it is the foundation of a strong, peaceful, and purpose-driven life. Life has a way of removing people from your journey the moment their purpose in your story has been fulfilled. And although it often feels painful, confusing, or unfair, it is never without meaning because every person who leaves creates space for someone better or something greater, something aligned, something destined, something that elevates your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. When you begin to understand this truth, you stop clinging to people who no longer belong in your life, and you start trusting the deeper wisdom that guides your path, even when it leads through loss, distance, or endings. We often hold on to people out of fear of loneliness, fear of change, fear of losing memories, fear of facing life without the emotional comfort they once provided. But what we fail to see is that attachment to the wrong people delays our growth, blinds us to new opportunities, and keeps us anchored to chapters that were never meant to last forever. When someone leaves your life, it is not always a rejection. Sometimes it is protection, redirection, elevation, or preparation for the next powerful phase of your life. Trusting the process means accepting that some people are temporary, some are seasonal, some are stepping stones, and some are turning points disguised as heartbreak. It also means understanding that not every goodbye is a loss. Some goodbyes are the beginning of something new, something stronger, something more aligned with your purpose. When life pulls people away from you, it is not closing the book. It is simply closing the chapter that was holding you back from discovering the next version of yourself. Letting go is hard, but holding on to what no longer serves you is harder because it slowly destroys your peace, your clarity, your energy, and your direction. When you release what is no longer meant for you, you open space for what is. You open space for healthier relationships, for deeper connections, for better opportunities, for stronger alignment, for greater blessings. You open space for the life you were always supposed to live, but could not reach because you were holding on to what was weighing you down. Think about the times in your life when you thought losing someone would break you, but later you realized that their absence became the reason you grew stronger, wiser, calmer, and more authentic. When people leave, they take with them the version of you that depended on them, the version of you that needed validation, the version of you that tolerated things you should never have allowed. Their exit forces you to evolve, to heal, to rediscover yourself and to rebuild your life in a more empowering, intentional way. Life does not remove people to hurt you. It removes people to teach you. It teaches you to rely on yourself, to honor your boundaries, to value your peace, and to trust your journey. It teaches you that your worth is not determined by who stays or who leaves, but by who you become through every change that life brings. When someone walks away, it may feel like an ending, but it is often an invitation to rise, to level up, to step into something greater. So instead of seeing loss, see the lesson. Instead of blaming yourself, bless the moment that freed your future. Instead of mourning the empty space, prepare it for what is coming. Because life never takes away without giving back something better, something aligned, something more meaningful. Every person who leaves your life makes space not just for someone better, but for a better version of you, a stronger version, a wiser version, a more purposeful version. Trust that the universe is not against you, it is guiding you. Trust that every exit is a part of your protection. Trust that every ending is preparing you for a beginning that is worth every moment of pain you are healing from now. You are not losing, you are clearing space for something greater. The strongest, most unshackable version of yourself is not built in the spotlight, not built in loud spaces, not built with applause or admiration, but built in silence, in solitude, in discipline, and in the quiet moments where no one sees your effort, no one praises your progress, and no one recognizes your transformation. Growth in silence becomes one of your greatest superpowers because it teaches you to rely on yourself, trust your path, and create a life that is not called by anyone's approval, validation, or expectations. When you focus on yourself, you begin to understand that your journey is personal, your healing is personal, your dreams are personal, and your evolution cannot depend on people who may come today and leave tomorrow. Silence protects your dreams from the noise of others. Silence shields your vision from doubts, negativity, and unnecessary opinions. Silence gives you space to think clearly, to work patiently, and to grow without interruption. You start to realize that everything powerful in life grows quietly, roots grow quietly, strength grows quietly, and purpose grows quietly. Working on yourself in silence means building the habits that will shape your future even when no one is watching, even when no one claps for you, even when no one understands your choices. It means waking up early to become disciplined, studying late to become wiser, healing deeply to become stronger, and improving your skills to become unstoppable. These silent hours, these unseen efforts become the foundation of the life you dream about. When you commit to your growth privately, you free yourself from comparison, from pressure, from criticism, and from the need to explain your journey to anyone. You learn to move differently. You learn to focus instead of impress, as you learn to build instead of talk. You learn to grow instead of announce. This creates a power within you that is not easily shaken because your strength no longer comes from how people see you, but from how you see yourself. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to your progress. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone should be allowed into the most delicate parts of your transformation. People come and go, and if your growth depends on their presence, you will collapse every time someone leaves. But when your growth is rooted in silence and self-focus, you remain stable no matter who stays or who walks away. In silence, you learn patience, you learn discipline, you learn self-respect, you learn emotional intelligence, you learn the art of letting go and the power of holding on to your dreams even when the world doubts you. Silence teaches you that you do not need external praise to validate your effort because the results will speak louder than any words ever could. Your silent growth becomes visible in unexpected ways. People will notice the change in your confidence, your peace, your energy, your boundaries, your mindset, and your maturity. They will ask how you transformed, but they will never understand the silent battles you fought, the quiet tears you shed, or the lonely nights you spent rebuilding yourself from from the inside out. This is the beauty of silent progress. It reveals the results, but hides the struggle, protects your peace, and honors your journey. When you stay committed to yourself, you attract the right people at the right time. People who match your energy, people who respect your boundaries, people who appreciate your presence, people who bring value instead of noise. Silent growth cleans your path, filters your connections, and aligns your life with what is truly meant for you. So stay focused, stay committed, stay silent when needed. Keep building, keep healing, keep improving. The strongest version of you is being shaped in the quiet moments, in the unseen effort, in the daily discipline that no one notices. And one day, your results will speak so loudly that those who doubted you will fall silent. You do not need recognition now. You need consistency. You need patience. You need faith. Because your silent growth today is creating a future that will be louder, brighter, and more powerful than anything you have ever imagined. At the end of it all, your life is a journey that only you can walk, only you can shape, and only you can understand, because people will come into your world and people will leave it, but your growth, your healing, your strength, and your evolution will stay with you forever. Throughout this speech, one truth has been clear. The most important commitment you will ever make is the commitment you make to yourself. When you focus on your purpose, your peace, your boundaries, and your dreams, you build a foundation that no goodbye can break and no disappointment can destroy. Every person who enters your life brings a lesson. Every person who leaves creates space, and every experience shapes the version of you that you are becoming. You are not defined by who stays or who walks away. You are defined by how you rise, how you rebuild, how you grow, and how you keep moving forward, even when the path feels uncertain. Your power has never been in the hands of others. It has always been within you, waiting for you to claim it. So walk boldly into your future. Let go of what weighs you down. Welcome what lifts you higher. Protect your energy, honor your worth, and trust the timing of your life. The world will continue to change. People will continue to shift. Seasons will continue to turn. But your responsibility is to yourself, your mind, your spirit, your growth, your dreams. When you focus on becoming the best version of you, everything else begins to align. Remember this always: you are your own constant. You are your own strength. You are your own foundation. People come and go, but your journey, your growth, and your future belong entirely to you. Keep moving forward with faith, courage, and clarity, because the life you are building is far greater than any loss you have overcome.